cutting edge, aren't they? Alex also mentioned the film Elysium, which is, you know, the upcoming dystopic Matt Damon film. And in that, humanity separates into two new class systems. Those who get the cybernetic upgrades, they go and live on an off-planet habitat. And then the rest of humanity is consigned to a dying Earth, you know, overpopulated, lack of food, lack of sanitation. So this theme runs through a lot of Hollywood blockbusters at the moment, because it's also on the cutting edge of science with, you know, people like Ray Kurzweil talking about it, which we can move on to now.
Sure.
Well, there was this Global Futures 2045 conference last weekend in New York. Ray Kurzweil, who of course is an inventor futurist, we spoke about him on the show many times before, he gave another speech in which he basically re-outlined what he first set forth in his book, The Age of Spiritual Machines. Now, for people who haven't read the book, it was written in 1999. He basically predicted almost every technological development from 1999 to 2009. The iPod, Netflix, the Kindle, everything that we now use and take for granted, which was unheard of in 1999, he predicted it. So he's got a quite accurate track record, which is interesting because by 2029, if you read his book, he predicts that humans will have cybernetically augmented their bodies. They're going to have brain interfaces, chips, augmentations that allow them to be smarter, have greater memories, be more immune from disease and so on. But what Kurzweil doesn't admit in his speeches, such as the one that happened last weekend, is the fact that this kind of technology is not going to be available for all of us. It's going to be available for a super elite that uses it to dominate and enslave the rest of the population. And he actually admits it in his own book. Here's a quote. People involved in unskilled labor will become superfluous when their jobs are replaced by machines, and there is almost no human employment in production, agriculture, and transportation. So the machines are going to come in to replace the workers, the unskilled labor. And then people who either refuse or are incapable of getting the cybernetic implants, the cyborg upgrades, this is what he said about them. Quote, humans who do not utilize such implants are unable to meaningfully participate in dialogues with those who do. So he's basically saying, if you don't get the brain chip, if you don't get the cybernetic upgrade, which is going to be consigned to the elite because most of us won't be able to afford it,
right,
or if we reject it, you know, get called neo-Luddites, then we're not going to be meaningfully engaged in society. We're not going to be able to have dialogues with other people, which is kind of like what the modern cell phone is. If you don't have a cell phone, then you're seen as somehow backward and you can't communicate with people. It's going to be that to an even greater level, but I think more people will resist the cybernetic implants, the upgrades, and it's going to create this clash of two classes where the elite goes off and has all these upgrades, life extension technologies, while the rest of us are left to suffer in, you know, the cry freedom ghetto, as it once was described. It's completely bizarre, but people give this guy credence because he's had accurate predictions. What's frightening about it is those humans who resist this cybernetic upgrade, this merging into the matrix, becoming a virtual reality avatar, you know, uploading your mind to a computer. And remember, Kurzweil is one of the key directors at Google. This is not some ranting lunatic. He's got a position of power now. They quote, in this book, Kurzweil quotes Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. And he's also quoted by Bill Joy in the Wired magazine article, Why the Future Doesn't Need Us. And they give him credence despite the fact that he was a terrorist, because he outlined succinctly the dangers posed by this future that Kurzweil and others are predicting. And this is the quote. Due to improved techniques, the elite will have greater control over the masses, and because human work will no longer be necessary, the masses will be superfluous, a useless burden on the system. If the elite is ruthless, they may simply decide to exterminate the mass of humanity. If they are humane, they may use propaganda or other psychological or biological techniques to reduce the birth rate until the mass of humanity becomes extinct, leaving the world to the elite. That's what Ted Kaczynski wrote. That's what Kurzweil quotes in his own book as either one of those two likely outcomes as a result of this new class system being created by the elite having access to the life extension technologies, the cybernetic upgrades. So they're basically saying, once the elite are in that position of total technological dominance, we will be superfluous if we don't adopt the same thing. It will be kept from us to begin with. Most people won't be able to do it. So we'll either be sterilized and go out of existence, or they'll just slaughter us straight off the bat. So that's what the futurists are predicting for humanity. I, for one, have no interest in seeing that as the future of the human race, but a lot of influential elitist futurists like Ray Kurzweil do.